Hi. So today we're going to go through some fun stuff to do with mentality, right? 3 categories. Let me start again. Hi. So today we're going to go through mentality, okay? And 3 categories of mentality, right? Competence, confidence, and arrogance. I think this is going to be fun. So, these 3 things can often get confused, right? But they're very distinct. Why do we want to separate them? We want to separate them so that we know what we're actually working on. Because people get these confused, it can often be that people don't know which one they even need to increase or decrease, okay? So, these here are often going to be how we interact with our environment and other people, okay? So let's define them, shall we? So competence, right, is basically skill and how good we actually are at something, okay? So let's put skill, okay? We measure competence quite, I'd say easily, because it's task orientated, right? Competence is something that basically we have a measurement that can usually be quite regulated, quite objective, and therefore it's a bit more external to us. You know, we can basically say, because the task is done well, we are competent at that task. Now, competence is an interesting thing because you can be competent to a certain level, but then if the level of the difficulty goes up, we may not be competent anymore. So competence is something that is very much at a level that, you know, is regulated by the task. Okay? That is a very distinct thing. Then we have confidence, right? So what's confidence? Confidence is much more mindset. Okay? What I would argue confidence really is, okay, is the willingness to be curious, okay? So I'll put that here, curious, okay? Now that might seem like a weird thing to say, right? Because a lot of people can confuse competence and confidence, right? So whereas competence is basically how good are you at the task, confidence is much more about how willing are you to find out if you are competent, or how willing are you to find out the result of something, okay? So another aspect we can add to competence, right, is there is a degree of certainty, right? Okay? So the more competent you are, the more certain you are about a particular task, right, due to your skill. So competence and certainty go hand in hand, okay? The more reliable, the more regular you are at being able to do a task, right? I think that made sense. The more certain you are. Confidence, on the other hand, is uncertain, which probably doesn't make sense at first. Can seem a bit counterintuitive, right? Confident people seem like they're really certain. Actually, no. Real confidence, proper confidence, where you're not faking it, is where you're actually uncertain. There's nothing more confident than not knowing and going to find out. So this is why these 2 here are very, very distinct, okay? You can be competent. So say like you have a level of tasks, right? You know, you say like you have levels of tasks like this, right? And you're competent here, you're competent here, you're competent here, okay? But then the difficulty of the task rises up to here. If you've never done this level of task, it's going to take confidence to find out. So it's totally possible to be really, really competent here, okay? But when the task becomes more difficult and you are now uncertain, if you don't move forward and test yourself, you could say you lack confidence. This is a good example of the difference between the two. Just like, for example, it's possible that you may have no competence whatsoever, you may be completely unskilled, but your confidence is, yeah, I'm going to find out, I'm going to try. Think about the confidence of a baby learning to walk, okay? They can't walk. Their competence is incredibly low, but their confidence in trying to find out and continually trying to learn and be curious and take steps is very high. That's what we want, okay? If we can separate these two, we can then understand that competence is through certainty, okay? Through task, like we measure our competence to the task. It's quite an objective thing, it's fairly unemotional. Confidence, however, is much more emotional. It's because it deals with uncertainty, it deals with basically how we view ourselves and the environment. So what we want to do is, if we can reframe this, rather than confidence being the thing where we need to be good at something, confidence much more along the lines of, let's find out. That can take a lot of the pressure off, like, how do we learn how to be confident? That's how. Just ask it as a question rather than a statement. Competency is objective and a statement, yes, I'm good at that. Okay, confidence is like, hey, I don't know, but let's find out. That's where you need the most confidence, in uncertainty. Okay, let's move over to arrogance, because this also gets confused with these two. Arrogance is something that is much more about comparison, in my view. If you disagree with me, that's fine, we can talk about it, right? I find it's helpful to split these down, because we want competence to be as high as we can, we want confidence to be as high as we can, but arrogance generally is seen as a bad thing. And that's because it's also a mindset thing, but it's born out of insecurity, okay? And so a lot of the time, arrogance is going to be a comparison, okay? So what tends to happen is, we will use either competence or confidence to then create a comparison with other people. Now there are levels to this comparison. So like, for example, low level arrogance might be, I'm good at snakes and ladders. Bear with me. I think I'm good at snakes and ladders, right? And so then I walk into a room and I just arrogantly declare that I'm better than anyone else in the room, even though I don't know, I'm better than them at snakes and ladders, okay? Now, it could be that with all of the people that I've currently been playing snakes and ladders with, I am better than them, right? So I have high competence in the room that I'm in at snakes and ladders, right? But then I go into a room full of new people, and instead of having the confidence to go, yeah, I want to play everyone at snakes and ladders, I want to find out, I just immediately state, hey, I'm better than everyone else in this room at snakes and ladders. That would be arrogance. That we want to reduce, because that is born off of an insecurity where we feel the need to be better than other people. I would say that's low-level arrogance. Much worse arrogance is when you would use the fact, for example, that you're better at snakes and ladders to then say that you are better than these people, full stop. I am a better human being than all of you because I can beat you at snakes and ladders. Now, I hope you understand the example I'm giving is silly, but all you have to do is replace snakes and ladders with anything else, right? And that's how you create your arrogance, right? So we have these levels of arrogance. It could be just through the task itself, which is silly. We need to actually say, right, what is our actual competence? And let's have the confidence to find out, but not declare ahead of time. But then if we go really arrogant and we say that we're better human beings just because of something else arbitrary, no, that's really arrogant. And the problem with that is, like I said, because it's born out of insecurity, we're sort of anchoring a value to something. The problem with arrogance is that what we're trying to do with it is elevate ourselves above other people. Now, on one hand, that hurts other people because it's not nice, it's not nice to be treated that way. It's a lack of social skill. But the other aspect of it is that it also, by elevating yourself over other people, either through just these things, like, hey, I can beat you at snakes and ladders, or, hey, I'm a better human being than you, that elevation hurts us because now we distance ourselves from other people. So we're using that insecurity to try and distance ourselves and protect ourselves when it actually hurts us, because then we're not pleasant to hang around, we're like basically destroying relationships through this arrogance. So this is just a quick thing, break these down, okay, and then look for the signs. Competence, we want to increase, so if there's a task, we want to measure that task, we want to create certainty and skill on the up. Then confidence is a good thing, right? So we want to have uncertainty, right, and we move with curiosity to find out, and we want to foster that. So that's also a good thing, right? And then arrogance is where we compare ourselves, but we try and say that we're better, like for no good reason, right? And that's a bad thing, so we want to decrease that, okay? And then by separating those three out, okay, we can increase our competence, know what that is. To say like we have loads of confidence but no competence, we think, do you know what, I need to actually have some better skill. Or we could have loads of confidence but we're not brave enough, okay, for whatever reason. We think, do you know what, I need to actually ask more questions and be like, let me find out. And then for arrogance, we just make sure that we're not like operating in a way where we're just saying that we're better than other people, you know, like it's not good, okay? We may actually have a measurement where we can say, yes, according to this measurement here, I am better than this person at this, okay? But if it's not actually helping anyone, right, like if it's not a helpful thing, if it's not a positive thing, it's not really anything to be like worried about, unless of course it's a direct competition. That's slightly different, but even then you can still operate with the idea of being good at something, being confident without being arrogant. You can even do that in direct competition and just let things be and see what happens. And generally, moving like this should give you more peace of mind and increase your social skill, because these are more fun things to be around than this. Okay, so I hope that helps. That was fun. See you later. Have a good day.